Right, Natalia, thank you so much for that report. And again, election day for this runoff already next Tuesday.
Yeah, and early voting happening all this week, 7 to 7. I was looking at some numbers in Nueces County. Looks like about 1,300 or so folks did that yesterday. No word yet today, but you've got the rest of the week. So if you want to do that,
get it in early.
Take advantage.
And folks, if you are planning to get your vote in early, you'll want to pay attention to the weather.
Yeah, it's better to do it early because if you can't do it one day because of the weather, you can always do it the next day.
Yeah.
If you wait till Tuesday, next Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
You might run into
Then
lines.
there's still a chance we're dealing with rain and thunderstorms. So, early voting is nice to have when you're in what we like to call an unsettled weather pattern. Here's the latest look at our satellite radar imagery. Those storms are still well to our north. So yesterday it was a storm coming out of Mexico that created all of the stormy weather that moved through the coastal bend early this morning. What I do want to point out is right here near Del Rio, this storm is now a severe thunderstorm, and it is severe warned with 60-mile-per-hour winds possible and possibly some hail. This is the area that we need to see living or continuing to grow and develop if the coastal bend is going to see thunderstorms, because these storms are going to be moving to the southeast. These storms right here that have been pretty healthy, that have passed through the Austin area, they're likely going to track closer to Victoria, somewhere between Victoria and Houston, and miss the coastal bend. Now, when we take a look at the bigger picture, this is an important pattern to note. There's an area of low pressure off the coast of California right now. That's what's helping bring up our Pacific moisture in combination with high pressure over the Gulf. Now, what that is doing is it's adding moisture to our atmosphere. It's adding energy, and this is a good weather pattern for rain in Texas. Combine that with a stationary boundary, and you can wind up with a lot of rain, but you can also wind up with flooding risks. When we take a look at those big rain events I've talked about in the past, one I want to point out is 2015. A slow-moving front and an upper-level disturbance. That is essentially what we are tracking this week. It helped our lake levels go up 21% during the month of May, and it was an El Nino year. So 2015 does have similar signs. That was a catastrophic flooding event for the hill country. However, not saying that's a guarantee to happen this time, but we do have flooding risks across the hill country, and we do have a stationary boundary, and we do have a slow-moving front, and we do have an upper-level disturbance. Another thing is just a rainy season. That happened in La Nina, but we've been dealing with a fairly rainy April and now May that can eventually help lead to our lake levels rising. So couple of interesting notes there. As far as tonight goes, we do have a chance of thunderstorms. That chance really starts to increase after midnight. Temperatures will fall a little bit cooler behind this squall line that is expected to move through. Storm Prediction Center has us under a level 2 slight risk. Remember, last night the Storm Prediction Center had no risk for us overnight, and we got those storms. Now, as we look ahead to Wednesday, the risk does shift a little bit more to our northwest. And then into Thursday, we don't have a risk of severe weather, at least at this time, but we do have our highest flooding risk, which means we're still expecting rain. Now, we do have a daily chance of storms pretty much through the end of May, thanks to that upper level driven pattern that I just talked about. It's difficult to nail down the exact timing of those storms, but it means it's in the forecast. Thunderstorm wind gusts at least 40 miles per hour. If we do get a severe thunderstorm, that would be 60 miles per hour or greater. We'll have hot and humid conditions that lead to lots of storm potential. That's what we've seen today. And the best thing to do is have a way to get alerts and stay up to date with the latest forecast. KIII News app, a great way to do that. Here's our front. It stalls. That squall line races out ahead of it, as I mentioned, likely targeting Victoria to Houston, but we still could get in on what is likely the weaker edge. But it's worth noting some of the models have it splitting into two pieces, which would bring, as I mentioned, the area near Del Rio down into the coastal bend. As we get into Wednesday, still a chance for some storms, mostly to the west. And then Thursday, it's off and on rain and thunderstorms, with Friday maybe a little bit of a break and a dry period before we start to head into our rainy pattern over the weekend. Rainfall amounts targeting where that upper level pattern has the moisture moving. And that does include South Texas. It does include our watershed. High-end rainfall numbers, what we're talking 6 inches, possibly more, could be possible. We're also looking at 2 to 4 inches likely of additional rainfall on top of what we saw early this morning. As far as Wednesday goes, I do think it's a little bit cooler. Temperatures will be hanging out there in the 80s. We'll have an east-southeast wind that is still a little bit on the lighter side. And in your 7-day forecast, what you're going to notice is that daily chance of storms continuing. Some of the highest storm chances are over the weekend, which is Memorial Day weekend, which I want to emphasize, if you have outdoor plans or camping plans, especially if it's near a river of any sort, use extreme caution because flooding is in the forecast for Central Texas and South Texas. We've got more news coming up right after this.